I was just thinking about how um, a person who feels safe probably isn't thinking about it. Probably thinking about other stuff. And I feel like that's actually one of the big keys to moving in faith is like an artisan, right? Those quiet ones in Zechariah 1:20. Like, I think they're thinking about something else. I don't even think they're thinking about the horns that they're terrifying. There's been this little sweet faith journey with mosquitoes I've been on, and I just really love my sandboxes. And boy howdy, wow, the sun is nice. I could lay on that bench. I might take a little bench. I might sit on this bench. Okay, don't mind if I do. Yeah, look at that. Hello. Look at it. Hello. Alright, let's see. How can I take myself a little better seriously? Maybe like this. I'd like to look at me. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So there's a mosquito thing. And it's really cute because the Lord's been teaching and training my heart with this little thing. And basically what I'm learning is that I've been having this little miracle of not getting bitten by mosquitoes when other people are getting bitten by mosquitoes when I ignore them. And when I let Jesus be my attention, I guess. No, what it is that I just do whatever I was doing. And I kind of just delegate the mosquito bit over to him. That's more what it is. I just do whatever I was doing, and I delegate the mosquito bit over to him. And so what ends up taking place is that I'm just not thinking about them. I'm thinking about something else. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's his job to take care of them. And so I'm just entering in with that small bit of faith. And the way that I've kind of reasoned it, and the way that I feel like he taught it to my heart, which I think was just fine. Like, I don't think it has to be a big system of like perfect theology or anything. I think it's just very personal relationship with trust. And I think the way that he personally fathered me with this faith is just like, when you learn to operate with faith practically in an environment where people are pointing out lots of different other variables, you tend to go and pursue the Lord for like, how does this actually work? How much can I actually trust you? Like, what are you inviting me into? Is this pleasant for you? Excuse me. It says you can't please God without faith. And so over that COVID season especially, there was just this, and it's funny because I wasn't even thinking about COVID. Like, I don't think of that season as the COVID season. I think of that season as the Jesus season, as the Exodus. Wow, I really do. It's when we left the tiny house, and he started speaking to me so much on my 30th birthday. But even before that, too. But it was just extra around that 30th birthday. It's been 3 years since then. I just turned 33. Julia's about to turn 34. But yeah, like, I started learning, like, how much can I trust God? And what can I trust him with? And what does he want me to trust him with? And, and that's just kind of enough. Like, I'm not asking these other questions of, like, what's responsible and how do we be measured and balanced. It's like, Paul didn't even consider himself his own judge. Like, I don't think that's even the conversation. I think the conversation looks more like, what's pleasing to you right now, Father? And so the whole thing with mosquitoes is like, with germs, with COVID and stuff, he started speaking to me, does it make more sense for you to try to lord over these germs or me. And he wasn't saying it vindictively. He's actually very, very polite and gracious in all the things that he presents. His graciousness is like one of the large convictions of how I know he's God, because I don't think an ungracious person is capable of contriving grace out of thin air. I think when somebody shows up and is showing you a measure of grace that you've never experienced before, it's like it blows your mind. It's when you have your mind blown by this gracious one, it's really special. But yeah, it's like, does it make more sense for you to be the Lord over the germs or me? And I was just very happy to say, it makes a lot more sense for you to be the Lord over the germs. I can't even see them. I'm trying to hand sanitize, we're trying to put masks on and all this other stuff. And honestly, people are still getting sick anyways. It's still doing kind of what it's doing. We're just more or less schwomping. And it sucked, but but and yeah, I said goodbye to a lot of people I love. Um, hmm, Thank you, Lord, you're holding them. But yeah, so, that was the whole thing, wasn't it? And then, oof, yeah, my heart's pretty tender there, Father. I could cry. But I was thinking, it makes a lot more sense for him to be Lord of the germs. And because I can't even see him. And, even if I wove a little net, I think I think my fingers are too fat to really weave a net small enough to really catch him. And I like for work, like I have to wear these big masks sometimes, and I wear glasses. And I have this awesome face shield that's like one of those aliens that eats your brain over your face in those horrible movies. Um, it goes right over your face, and you got this nice shield, and you can breathe real good in there. But what's amazing is that I've been in such dusty, dusty, dusty environments that where my glasses are passing through that seal, I get these crazy marks of dust down my face like this, like where it was still coming through. And it just goes to show, man, I put on a really good shield, and look at all of these particles that I would never have imagined would have snuck in. And they did. And so it just went a long way for me learning that, okay, not like passively, like or whatever, but like I'm aware that there's a problem. And then I'm also no sooner aware that there's a problem as I'm also redelegating that over to you. Because I think there's this issue here where we step into the position of Lord. And I think that's the main issue. And I think that's the main issue when it comes to Jesus becoming Lord, for Christians. And so you give him the lordship of that. And so I was aware of the germs, and I realized it makes more sense. No, I mean, I felt like it was proposed to my heart the way I said, but, it makes more sense that he's Lord. And so the wonderful thing about that is that, it always makes more sense for him to be Lord. And what you find out is that you are a design that's not designed to ever be alone, and is designed to be dependent on the one who is the most perfect one to be dependent with. The harmony of your being, to harmonize with his being, is such a hand in glove experience. Like, that, like all these things we think are like really hard, like rejoice always, pray constantly, acknowledge God in all your ways, keep your imagination fixed on him, seek his face, all this good stuff. But like, Martha, you're concerned about many things, few things are required, indeed only one. But all these things, like, lean not on your understanding, but in all your ways know or acknowledge God, and then he'll take on the role as the one who directs your paths. Cast your cares on him, for he's taking care of you, kind of language. And what you find out is that these things that seem impossible when you're Lord are really, it's because it's not about you being Lord and trying to do those things. It's about you surrendering into what he said. And so your lordship just kind of ends there. And then you find out, oh, you get an aha moment in it because he said it and he knows what you are and how you work, and he knows who he is and how he works, and he knows how you and him work together, even if you don't. And you start getting these aha moments by the way things are presented. And it's like, oh, I'm designed to acknowledge you in all my ways. So the question becomes, what does it look like to acknowledge God in all your ways? I just want to say I have not been bit by a mosquito since I've been sitting here. Even though they were doing stuff, they're gone. And I've been out in the woods for hours now, and it's just really nice. And I sat by this creek, and there's a bunch of mosquitoes present, and I just kind of did this sweet little practice. and then it was just the nicest time. No mosquitoes biting me. They're around landing on me and stuff, but they didn't really bite me at all. And I just, even with their presence, I delegate the lordship. I just take it as this nice sandbox opportunity to be like, is this pleasing to you, Lord? Is it pleasing to you if I say, it's your responsibility to protect me from this mosquito? I almost feel like it's as romantic as a gentleman laying down his coat over a puddle that a lady would walk over it and not get her feet wet. It's just this romantic gesture. He's just so romantic. And I'm like, yeah, is it pleasing to you that you would protect me from this mosquito? And like, oh, I guess I give you the lordship of that. And I just let my mind leave the topic. And I had to go back to thinking what I was thinking after giving it to him. I'm not trying to do a big hurdle or anything. I'm not trying to do some kind of big gymnastic routine. I'm just going back to doing what I was doing. And that's why the whole thought was like, I think if a person's safe, they're not thinking about that they're safe. They're thinking about something else. And I really think, like when we can start seeing Jesus inside of like, the way that he communicates with us, the way that he shows up like light in our own imagination, the way that he like stands with us as like another man in this fire, and actively talks to us and just like friendly communicates, and like the way that he does it and the way that he invites us to kind of like chill and stop being all like, weaponizing, the fact that he said something, instead just like enjoying the fact that he's fathering you personally in that, and just listening, and just giving him that lordship constantly, that lordship, as often as you take it back, right? That's all the striving there ever is you taking it back. And so you could realize that he's not asking you to do spiritual gymnastics. He's just asking you to relax because he's protecting you. And that's what's so cool about all this. Is that, I get this little sandbox with mosquitoes, but, those who are made faithful with little will be made faithful with much. And I just feel so thankful as the little panic in my brain that happens with a mosquito is like the entire arena. The worst thing that could happen is that I get bit by a mosquito. I could panic about it. Maybe the worst thing that could happen is me having anxiety about it. When you're worried, it's actually much worse than the actual event because it just fills your mind. It floods it with shadows and darkness and anxiety. You're cast into a warfield. I'm inundated by enemies. The woods is hell. It's not. It's a beautiful garden. And I am a gardener alongside of my gardener father who's teaching me what the heck. And so I just love this. I just love it. And so that's kind of the cool thing is, I don't think you're thinking about the fact that you're safe. I think you're thinking about something else. And I think that something else kind of looks like when Brother Lawrence was saying, like, it's this dynamic thing that you're designed to actually be able to acknowledge God in all your ways. And so you can actually take delight in the presence of somebody. It's literally like cooking with somebody in the kitchen. And you're making the meal together, you know? You're just kind of glad that you're right there, Think about being with Julia, like, hello, cutie pie. How are you? you know? You're like mixing all the food together. You're just looking at her cute little hands. You're like, man, I love that your wedding ring is on that finger for all these years. I got one too. It's like you're just thinking about the one you're with, while you're doing the thing. And you find that you have this capacity to enjoy the presence of a person while you are about an activity, which is literally as vast as the amount of activities that there are. Hello. And so that's like kind of like acknowledging God, because it's actually know God, it's yada God in all your ways. And yada is this personally experiential, relational knowing, the same way that we yada, like yada is just the way to do it because he's in it. In him, we live and breathe and have our existence. All things are from him. All things are to him. Without him, nothing that was made. He's reconciling all things back to himself. You can't help but see him in everything, because that's kind of what's going on. And as you do, you're kind of doing the thing that the Bible's inviting you to do. And it really just looks like falling in love. Yeah. I think it's great that we've had these experiences of falling in love, even if we break our hearts, right? Like, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Isn't that so? And so, um, yeah, I don't know. What do you want? I'm just happy. I'm happy that I'm with him, and I'm thinking about little inventions. I love bags, and I love thinking about what would a bag be like that could do the job of all the bags, and be a big bag or a little bag. What would it look like to make a bag that could be all the bags? What material would that be? What new mechanisms might be in that bag? And it's kind of like me walking through the woods, enjoying the environment, and thinking about this idea, and standing in the kitchen next to my beloved, and we're thinking about bags. I think that's nice. And I think that's where good ideas come from. And I think if we just learned that, we'd start seeing him more and enjoying him more. Like, oh, it is just so much better when you show up. Like, I feel that way about Julia all the time. What are you? Are you a worm? No. You're some kind of millipede getting attacked by bugs? Poor kid. Why are you freaking out like this? What is it, a no-see-em biting a millipede? Come here, honey. You'll be all right. You need to climb on my hand, and I will get you out of the sun, out of this horrible dry moment, and I will get you into a spot where you can go burrow under leaves and enjoy your life again. There you go. Even just being in the shade, I think, is a win right now. Cool, look at that. He's already relaxing. It was just the sun. It's like UV9. He was like, I wandered onto the surface of the sun. And some no-see-em was like, eat him. And you're like, everybody calm down. This is way too intense. But yeah, so it's just like acknowledging God in all your ways, leaning out on your understanding, but in all your ways acknowledging him and letting him direct. Oh, good shepherd, I'll follow you where you lead. It's this dance, Let him direct your paths like he wants to direct. He wants to take the lead of the dance, He wants to put his hand around your waist, and he wants to encourage you to like lean back and do a dip. And like you're gonna be like, I don't know if I could support myself if I lean back that way. He's like, you're not gonna be the one to do it. And you're like, whoa, I love when you spin me. Like a little kid, But yeah, that's it. That's this beautiful time. And so I love this little learning with mosquitoes. And I feel like a lot of the good faith lessons that I need are hiding in these being faithful with little, being faithful with much. Not that it's a weird duty, but that I just don't think a person who's safe as thinking about it. I just think they're thinking about something else. And I think they're thinking about maybe, I think maybe we're set up to think about him. Think about it, maybe we're just with him. But not like thinking about, like, he's at the table for you in the midst of your enemies. But he's at the table. Like, I'm not like trying. I mean, I do sometimes. And it's not a bad thing to do because he catches you. He encourages you. You can start looking at his face because you're terrified. But as you look at his face, you realize he's not terrified. And, but yeah, it's really just like enjoying him. And how romantic and weird is he? That he would set a table for us in the midst of our enemies, he's like a lion, he's like, don't fear them, they are your bread, God says. And I'm like, whoa, you're telling me we're gonna eat this? Telling me that guy right over there who just said that terrible lie about the core of who I am, telling me that when I go eat him, that I'm actually gonna learn a lesson at the core of who I am? It's actually going to nourish me when I discover that my adversary is full of it, and you used him to bring up the topic to encourage me? Well, thank you. Well, thank you. And that's exactly how it goes. It's crazy. The hardest things in my childhood, the biggest things where I could be better at people, the hardest things are the exact things that set the tone for the greatest wisdom, for the greatest insights, for the greatest revelation that I've had in my whole life. They set the tone. Those things that were accusing me, they were pointing at the topic. And then the Lord used that to draw my attention to the topic. And then he had me eat the enemy. And now the enemy is getting digested. Amen.